In the heart of the Soviet chess empire, two giants emerged, Mikhail Tal and Boris Spassky. Tal, the magician from Riga, played like lightning, brilliant, unpredictable, and fearless. His attacks defied logic but dazzled the world, turning every game into a masterpiece of risk and genius. Facing him was Spassky, calm, composed, the embodiment of perfect balance. A strategist who could attack like a lion or defend like a fortress, adapting to any storm that came his way. When these two minds clashed in Tallinn Chess Tournament in 1973, it wasn't just a game. It was fire versus water. Chaos versus control. And the chessboard became their battlefield of destiny. The game begins with Spassky opening his pawn to d4. Tal replies with knight to f6. Spassky advances the pawn c4. Tal plays pawn e6, a Nimzo-Indian defense. Spassky then develops knight to c3. Tal pins it with bishop to b4. Spassky's bishop comes out to g5. Tal answers with pawn to h6, chasing it away. Bishop back to h4. Tal strikes the center with pawn to c5. Spassky pushes pawn from d4 to d5. Tal gambits a pawn with pawn to b5, the Averbakh Gambit, offering the b-pawn to rip open white center. Spassky takes pawn on e6. Tal recaptures the pawn on e6, opening his f-file. Then Spassky takes on b5, grabbing material. Tal counters with pawn to d5, striking back. White plays pawn to e3. Tal calmly castles king side. Spassky brings out knight to f3. Tal activates his queen to a5, attacking the pawn on a2 and support the bishop. Spassky's bishop captures knight on f6. Tal recaptures with rook. Spassky plays queen to d2, to protect the king. Tal plays pawn to a6, threatening the b5 pawn. Spassky captures the a6 pawn. Tal develops knight to c6. Spassky retreats his bishop to e2. Tal now pushes pawn to d4, striking in the center while his pieces gain momentum. Spassky captures pawn on d4. Now Tal unleashes a sacrifice, rook to f3. By capturing white's knight. Spassky accepts with bishop by capturing the rook on f3. Tal's heavy pieces are gone, but black's attack is just starting. Tal continues with pawn captures on d4. Spassky castles king side. Tal pushes d-pawn, captures the knight on c3. Now Tal has clawed two minor pieces for his sacrificed rook, his material is roughly even but white's pawn structure is shattered. Spassky takes back with pawn on c3. Tal's bishop captures that pawn. Tactical flair, with black's bishop on c3 and rook on a8 eyeing the kingside, white's queen tries to find safety. Spassky plays queen to d6. Tal brings his rook to capture the white pawn on a6. Spassky's bishop captures the knight on c6. Tal moves his bishop to b4, attacking the queen. Spassky moves his queen to b8. Tal's rook captures that bishop. Spassky now shifts rook to c1 to contest the c-file. Tal retreats his bishop to c5, eyeing white's kingside. Spassky moves his rook forward to c2. Tal maneuvers queen from a5 to a4. Spassky retreats his queen to b3. Then Tal queen slides gradually to f4. White queen goes to g6. Then Tal moves his queen back to f5. Spassky brings another rook into play, rook f1 goes to c1, placing a rook on c-file square. Tal moves his bishop to b7, putting pressure on the long diagonal. Spassky moves his queen to b3. Spassky offers queen's trade. But Tal refuses and moves to g5. Spassky moves his queen to b3, attacking the bishop. Tal defends with the rook. Spassky finally moves pawn to g3, giving his king some lift. Tal seizes the moment, his bishop on c5 jumps to f2 and captures the pawn on f2. A lightning strike. White's king is forced to capture it. Now Tal's queen springs to f6, giving check. White's king scrambles, moves to e1. Then Tal's queen to e5 checks again. King goes to f1. Tal's light-squared bishop snipes from a6, giving another check. The white king drifts to g1. Tal's queen goes to d4 check. King forced to g2. Queen to e4 check. White king goes back to g1. Black's bishop retreats to b7, to support the queen. White pushes pawn to h4, trying to give his king air. Then Tal plays queen to h1 check, placing the queen right next to white's king. The only safe square is f2. Tal then swings his rook to f7 with check. White's king moves to e2. Finally Tal's queen returns to e4 check. Facing a mating net and overwhelming attack, Spassky resigned the game. Tal's imaginative play, the bold Averbakh Gambit, the rook sacrifice on f3, and the final bishop and queen attacks, made this one of his most spectacular wins. Tal's victory shows why he was celebrated for complex, audacious play. Through it all, Tal's creativity and risk-taking shone, a thrilling, instructive game for fans to enjoy. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like and subscribe button for more interesting games. Comment below which sacrifice was your favorite. Thanks for watching.